Hello there, fellow NPCs. I am Scythe, and today we're getting back into Everlasting Summer, one of the visual novels that got me into visual novels to begin with. And I know, the game didn't really show a lot of promise in the last video. It was a lot of build up, but now we're at the camp and things are going to start taking off from now. You're going to see that the mystery is actually happening here. And what is that mystery? We still don't know. We only know that yesterday was winter, today is summer, and we are at a pioneer camp, and we are far away from home, with no way to contact the outside world, more or less. So yeah, let's meet Olga. I guess she's the first one we get to meet. And also, I'm going to try and play this first playthrough the way I did back then. I know what I'm looking for, so I brought up a guide to make sure I get the endings in the order that I want them. So yeah, with that said, let's go. A mere 50 meters ahead of a small one-story house popped up on the left side. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for the fate of the whole world of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze, as if frightened. I froze too, considering what there was best to do, to approach first or wait until she showed some initiative. Or maybe run away after her after all. Although this last option was constantly being suggested only by my self-preservation instinct. At least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting to me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. Ay. Suddenly, somebody jumped out of nearby bushes. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with USSR written on it. And I am guessing, yeah, exactly, USSR is the English name for CCCP. The CCCP! The FCCCP! Oh my god, it even got Vocaloid music! I never knew that. Such a perfect reproduction of the age. She looked quite short from a distance and was probably younger than both pioneer girls, the one at the gates and this girl at the door of the clubs. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I call her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling us something while wildly waving her arms. Not me. The other girl in turn seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I would have probably continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving it in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Let's just grab that. There we go. Eee! The first girl squealed. She must not be too keen on insects, and she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers' and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. USSR glanced at me, grinned playfully, and dashed after her. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there's some kids here role-playing as pioneers. Oh yeah. And as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. It might even be a different reality. And this was indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seemed so real, if a little embellished, that I was starting to think that in fact my previous life could have been just a dream. What am I supposed to do now? I was picking at the cracked paving stones with my shoe and staring aimlessly at the club's building. Just a few more seconds before I had to come up with some decision. That's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass, weeping. I cringed in disgust. Oh no! Is cringe really that old? Of course cringe existed, but now we use it as an actual insult. I don't think we did back in 2014. Perhaps it's another instinct. When all energy for whimpering and self-pitying is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seemed to have chosen the second option, because out of the blue I found a determination to figure out what was going on. And in order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of the representative of my own world. So that's what we're going for here, huh? We are universal travelers, or something like that. I followed the path to the left, on the right side of which stood small cabins, apparently the homes of the local pioneers. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I had never been part of its children's organizations, neither the pioneers nor even the younger October children. I imagined the daily life of a typical pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks, wake-up calls at 6 o'clock played by a siren, 1 minute to make your bed, then joining the formation at the drill square. That sounds awful. Oh, wait. Could I be confusing it with something else? Yeah. Suddenly something struck me on the back. I staggered but remained on my feet. I turned around and prepared to fight heroically for my life. But all I found was another girl standing before me. My mouth hung open in surprise. Pick your jaw up off the ground. I closed my mouth. The same pioneer uniform, but the way she was wearing it looked, let's say, provocative. Like all the other girls I had met here before, this one was rather cute, but her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her better. So this is the Quinn of Everlasting Summer. Not exactly, because Quinn is in a league of her own. New here, are you? Fine, see ya. She threw a threatening glance at me and walked past. I waited for the pioneer girl to turn at the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to. The most interesting thing was that even this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give off the feeling of some deadly danger. Except maybe the danger of getting punched in the nose. Okay, so I do remember there was a square, and he was making jokes about Lenin being here and stuff, but I guess it's not Lenin on that statue. At last I managed to make it to the square. There was no Lenin on an armored car, although one could easily expect something like that after all this had happened. Instead, however, a monument to a certain comrade towered in the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read Genda. Must be some big figure in the party. There were some small benches at the sides. It's quite pleasant here. Where did that girl tell me to go? To the left or to the right? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. And why am I going there anyway? Right, I've decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. Well, that's the wrong one, because she said left. That was in the last episode, though. Through a small grove, I came out to a pier. I must have taken a wrong turn. Yeah! You went in the wrong direction from the beginning, my guy. Hey! Wrong way! I turned towards her voice. Their voice. The first girl stood before me and listened to the music change. Yeah, we are expecting stuff here. It's not that kind of game, but we're expecting stuff here. Now, what did I tell you? Take a left at the square, wasn't it? She had changed from her pioneer uniform into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavia. Actually, my full name is Slaviana. But everyone calls me Slavia. So you can too. Yeah. I still felt a bit confused, so I could not come up with some more meaningful answers. And what's your name? I felt like she could see right through me. Oh, Semyon. Nice to meet you, Semyon. Alright, I'm almost done here. Could you wait here for a minute? I'm going to change and we'll go to Olga Dmitrievna together. Agreed? Agreed. After this exchange, she ran off. I sat on the pier and let my feet hang into the water. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather, there was nothing wrong in getting my feet wet. Furthermore, it let me cool myself a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that had happened. If this is some kind of conspiracy, it's a weird one, even too friendly at times. No, it really looks more like a random event. Some entirely incomprehensible random event. Shall we go? Slavia was standing beside me, dressed in the pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all the people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. Yeah. We walked to the square. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. Is that some kind of game they're playing? Uliana, enough running. I'll tell everything to Olga Dmitrievna. Aye aye, Captain. Oh yeah, alright, that's awesome. And so you can see she's red hair, red text. And let's see here. Slavia has blonde hair, and so she has yellow text. That's an easy way to figure out who's who. I decided not to question Slavia for a while about what was going on or the local residents. Better meet with this mysterious Olga Dmitrievna first. Sounds like she's the boss here. We walked past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavia stopped in front of a smallish one-story cabin. It looked like an artist's painting. The faded paint, chipping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters, slightly ajar, were swaying almost unnoticeably in the wind, and huge lilac bushes were growing at the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in a storm of purple silk, and the lilacs, like some elemental force, were inexorably destroying the troop leader's house. Inexorably. Don't know that word. What are you standing around for? Let's go. Slavia snapped me out of my daydreaming. And stop teasing Lena already. What the fuck is this? Rena? I guess it's from an anime he was watching. Sounds like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later the door swung open and Uliana ran out and dashed past with the same mischievous grin. The pigtailed girl came out next. Don't let it bother you, Lena. So her name is Lena. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena at least. But I don't... Instead of finishing her sentence, she blushed and quickly headed towards the square. For some reason, I felt like turning and following her with my eyes. But Slavia said, "Come." We entered the cabin. Okay, so yeah, I do remember this. This guy is fucking scary. What the hell is this dude? That's freaky as fuck. We entered the cabin. Inside, it looked like something similar to what I'd imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time felt homelike and cozy, although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. The girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. You're finally here. Excellent. My name is Olga Dmitrievna. I'm the camp leader. And she... Maybe when she changes name, but my theory on the hair and the name tag is not correct. Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer. We've been expecting you since early morning. You've been expecting me? Yes, of course. And when does the next bus come? Cause And why do you need it? Yeah, right. Why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. The people here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer. And I doubt I get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean. I wanted to send a letter to my parents to tell them how I got here fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I would find something out. Oh, but your parents called just a half an hour ago. Send their regards to you. Did they now? Now that's a surprise. So, can I call them? Because I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here. Then how could my parents make a call to here? I just come back from the district's central town. I talked with them there. Oh, so that's how it is. And can I somehow get to town? No. She kept the same smile. Why not? Because the next bus only comes in a week. I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I would get no answer anyway. Yeah, that's very weird. This is very railroady so far. But that's what it's supposed to be. All this time, Slavia was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. Oh, we need to find a uniform for you. I got absolutely no desire to put on a pioneer shorts or to wear that ridiculous red neckerchief. However, wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either. Right, thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange someone wearing a coat and winter boots in such heat. Rightio, I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I ended up alone with Slavia. I must go too. Got things to do. Take a walk, look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening. If there's no threat or catch to this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavia, becomes more and more appealing. For the first time today, I realized that it was awfully hot here. Although, obviously, my winter clothes were to blame for that. I took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it. I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meantime. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. It was a real pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently, there were many even in this kingdom of Amazons. Hello, you're new here. You must be Semyon, right? And how do you... Everyone knows already. I'm electronic, by the way. The real one. You can call me that. Electronic was a robot character appearing in a popular Soviet film and book series. He looked like an exact copy of a school kid called Sergei Chesikov. Electronic, the real one. Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Alright. Udiana also calls me Chessy. I don't think it's supposed to be cheesy, but maybe it is. Cheesy? On toast. With mushrooms? Okay, so it's cheesy. Because my last name is Chesikov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer, as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at the square again, as if this place was all there is to this camp. Lena was sitting on one of the benches reading some book. Electronic confidently approached her. Hello Lena, meet the new guy, Semyon. He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met in a way. Yes. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that meeting this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that it was better that way. Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go. Next we came to a building, which I instantly identified as a canteen. And this here, I know, this is where you consume organic food. Yeah, something like that. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me in the back earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in a blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he's quite hilarious. First I need to figure out what's what here, or at least where I am. Her, over there, that's Alisa Dvashevskaya. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Dva means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Tuch. Dvach in Russian. A reference to the late Tuchan, that Russian anonymous image board. Yeah, Tuchan. Don't ever risk calling her Dvache. She doesn't like that. Okay. Confused, but okay. What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alisa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. Alright, you'll manage from here onwards. Electronic took to his heels. Should I run after him or... You said I was done here. Alisa, running past, stopped for a moment and growled. I'll deal with you later. Deal with me? What did I do wrong? I added a forced guilty smile to my words. But what am I guilty of? She made no reply and carried on chasing Electronic. Looks like I have to kill time alone, waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in the direction where east would have been my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. A game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself, and even thought of going professional. But a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of an uncertain chance in the game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl about 14 years old. A girl. Hey, that's Uliana! Alright, so she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems an unrestless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey you! Uliana shouted. Wanna play? I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot and without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around and walked back. I was followed by Uliana's screams about my pants or about me being a pansy or something like that. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. Hello, Genda. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench and gave me an exhausted sigh. I'd better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easy to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs can break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what is happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start a slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter which mechanism I serve as a gear in, society, the Matrix, or a weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. It must be the dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing that now I knew where it was. Olga Dmitrievna was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her, as if I were expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. I guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up there. Oh damn, that's a lot of people. Did not know that actually. Huh. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I'd had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with the occasional crack. Guess that's what a canteen in a pioneer camp's supposed to look like. Semyon, wait a moment, we'll find you a place to sit. She looked around the place. Dvashevskaya, hold it right there! Olga Dmitrievna shouted at Alisa, who was passing by. What? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looked somewhat provocative. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. All right. Alisa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. So, where can I find you a place to sit? There weren't a lot of free seats. Go over there, next to Uliana. Maybe yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table too. I had no other choice but to accept. In common Russian language, cutlet is minced meat fried or baked in the shape of a ball or a cylinder, close to American patties. Okay. Compote is a drink made by boiling fresh and dried fruits in a large amount of water. Compote in French. Yeah, we have that in Swedish too. And compote. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare, the mashed potatoes generously seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. Compo? I don't know. But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist. Hey! What do you want? I replied rather rudely to Uliana, who was sitting next to me. Why didn't you play football with us? Because of my clothes, said I, pointing to this at the source of the problem. Oh, alright then, eat. However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Uliana could have done it. Give me back my cutlet. In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you're careless. Give it back, I'm telling you. Attempt to take the cutlet, do not attempt to take the cutlet. Ooh. So, in my first run, there is a run for Semyon himself. And that's what I did wrong the first time around. And in the guide it says, do not get close to any of the girls. I'm guessing this is the one. I'm supposed to go with one of the girls in the beginning, but I will give her the cutlet. See, I don't have it! And indeed, Uliana's plate was empty. It seemed that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets. Take it easy, we'll work something out now. She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they could have done it in a much easier way. About a minute later, Uliana returned and handed me the plate with a steaming hot cutlet on it. Here's one for the starving. Thanks. It was all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... What the? Some bug? No, not a bug. An insect! It got legs and it's wiggling. The plate fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on my leg while falling. I dislike insects since I was a child, but when these creepy crawlies appear in my plate, that's just way too much. You little! Uliana seemed ready for such a twist and was already at the door, laughing as if she had just heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. We ran out the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I felt I would catch the little girl easily. We ran through the square, past the club's house, and ran out onto the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. I should have quit smoking, I guess. Uliana passed out of sight on the next turn. Can't be true that she managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Hey, son of a bitch. Night was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to the camp. However, I had absolutely no clue which way to go. Well, gotta choose at random. Wait, where are we going? Am I lost already? We just continue to walk, and now we're back at the parking lot. I wandered for quite some time in the forest, and even thought of crying for help, but finally saw the camp's fence beyond the trees. Everything fell back into place. The bus is gone, I mumbled quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't just stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant there was someone driving, because buses do not drive themselves. They will do soon enough, though. Or do they? This world seemed too normal, but every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly, the driver could have just been off for a snack, and I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, this is not the place for me. Whether that bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important to know how I had got here at all, and where this here was. The field and the woods stretching towards the horizon had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. A strange, odd and alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely not frightening. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me so much with their carefree normality that I was simply forgetting what had happened to me just a couple of hours ago. Although I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I wanted to just have a break from it all, and only after that would I continue looking for answers, ready and reloaded. However, that would be some time later. And what about now? Can I allow myself to relax? It got completely dark, and in any case it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind. "Hello, what are you doing here so late?" Oh, it was Slavia standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped. "So you didn't catch Juliana, did you?" She smiled. I nodded disappointedly and sighed. "No wonder. No one ever has." "Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use for her energy than looking for adventures." "You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner after all." Indeed, I had completely forgot about my hunger, but after these words of hers, my stomach drew attention to itself by giving a traitorous rumble. Slavia smiled. "Let's go then." What? Is the canteen still open?" "It's alright. I have the keys." "The keys?" "Yes, I have the keys to all the facilities in this camp." "How come?" "Well, I'm something like the camp leader's aide here." "I see. Well, let's go." It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Slavia stopped in her tracks. "Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll be worried otherwise." "You go on to the canteen, and I'll come in a minute, alright?" "Alright." I really did not expect to find somebody aside from myself there at such a late hour. And that somebody was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. But I think I know who it is. We've managed to figure out quite a lot about these girls already. But who it is something we're going to find out in the next video. We're still building up quite a lot of tension here, I believe. But yeah, it's a bit of a slow burn. It's very normal in the beginning. But it's gonna be stranger, all things after a while. I promise. It's not the greatest game, but it's the game that got me into the hobby, as I said. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you Joseph for donating directly to my Ko-fi page. If you guys want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one, and remember, just because you're not the main character, it does not mean you're not important. Goodbye everyone.